talking about how can the Black community support. Now, I've really been thinking about what about people outside of the Black community? So we've kind of touched on it. So I just want to bring it further in that there's a lot of brands, there's a lot of celebrities, there's a lot of influencers who are not part of the Black community or aren't owned by Black people who've been shown their solidarity visibly. So we believe. Let me just say that. Black Lives Movement. We're talking about Nike. We're talking about L'Oreal. We're talking about Starbucks. I don't know if you guys saw with Starbucks, but on the 1st of June, Starbucks posted an Instagram post saying, we stand with Black communities, we stand with our Black partners, we stand with our Black customers, we won't be bystanders. On the 10th of June, BuzzFeed.com released a story where Starbucks were like, yeah, we're not going to let our staff wear badges or t-shirts for Black Lives Matters because, you know, we don't want them to advocate for any political, religious, or personal cause. So, for people like Starbucks and other brands and so on, have they been showing true allyship, or has it been PR spin? Luanda, please go, because I see you like chomping at the bit to answer this question.
Listen, so first of all, I know that we've already all acknowledged that what we're seeing now has been nothing like we've ever seen before. Yes, so I have no intention of downplaying what it does for everyone to be speaking at once. Like I said, we've not seen anything like it. It's given us like a new sense of hope that we haven't had for as long as we've been alive. Okay, first of all.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer to the following statement. The thing is, I'm reluctant to believe that people's support is gonna go further than a hashtag. I'm reluctant to believe that people who are making these statements are actually committed to seeing these things in their own lives. So, for example, we all saw that mess with Amy Cooper. So there was a Black man that was bird watching, and this white woman called Amy Cooper had her dog just gallivanting all over the place. You're not supposed to have your dog off the leash, obviously, because we'll yam up the birds. He asked her, can you put your dog on the leash? And she was so outraged at a Black man asking her to do something that she called the police, and she put on this like drama school performance of like, there's an African-American man, please come quick.
I just want to say, it's alleged that she was upset that he was Black. We assume, but we don't know that's the reason why she was upset.
Sophie, we know it.
Amy Cooper.
Sophie, we know it.
Okay. Amy Cooper.
We saw the video. We know it, bro. We know it.
I'm just telling you what Amy Cooper said. That's all I'm telling you.
I don't business about no statements from Amy Cooper. Okay, I don't business. When she was on the phone, she mentioned that he was African American.
Knowing the implications.
She knows the power of white tears, and especially a vulnerable white woman at the hands of a Black man. She knows the power that it has, and she used that, okay? Yes. So the investment firm that she worked for fired her, and they made a statement saying, we do not tolerate racism of any kind, and we have to let Amy go. I think that is BS, okay? I feel like, yes, Amy needs to like have implications for what she did, but I feel like that should have been within the law. Like, you know how you get punished for wasting police time? I don't believe for 1 second that the company that she works for doesn't tolerate racism of any kind. Can I get like a statement from your Black employees, if you have any, that is true? Because I don't believe that for 1 minute. People are scared. People are just scared. I know Linda's ready to talk. People are just scared of being on the wrong side. But the thing for me is, like, are you still going to be an activist when being a woke bae doesn't work with your Instagram aesthetics? You know what I mean? Are you still going to be calling out microaggressions when it's your boss or your favorite racist uncle at Christmas and not just some person without an avatar on Twitter? Like, let me know. Like, the real change, or we'll see the real change will come after lockdown, when everyone can stop doing up keyboard warriors and start implementing real change. Okay, Linda, speak, girl, because I see you busting.
Okay, I'm gonna try and remember everything, right? Number one, Sophie, with that Starbucks thing, right? A few days later, they then responded to a colleague to say that, in fact, they were gonna give their Black employees particular uniform to wear that was going to be supporting Black Lives Matter, and they wanted to make it uniform. I do call that still BS. I feel like they're doing it because they got
New
called
York
out.
Times did say that now they have said, oh, we've listened, we've paid attention, and now we're going to say it's okay to wear the pins, and we're going to give 250,000 t-shirts to all our workers who want to support Black Lives Matters, because, you know, we listen to what you guys say.
Now, so here's the thing. I still think it's BS, but the fact that they were called out has now made a change. And I think what we need to remember is this, right? In the instance of Amy Cooper, yes, I don't believe her company is innocent. I don't believe her company are truly allies, but you know what? You should be afraid to be on the wrong side of history. And that's why I think it's good that she got fired. You should be afraid. You shouldn't think it's okay to be complicit. People should know that there'll be repercussions, and where's it going to hit you? It's going to hit you financially. You're going to lose your job. So these people that are firing, listen, there's an internet, there's an IG account that I follow, right? She was a gossip page. And now, since everything's been happening, she has stopped posting gossip. She is finding racists one by one and urging her followers to contact their employers and get people paid. And another one bites the dust. And you know what? Good, because these
that action.
No, I'll show you guys the page in a bit. No gossip,
guys. No,
literally, I even DM her to be like, here's another one, babes. But here's the thing. Do you know why? People need to know that there are repercussions, and these companies that are seeing, right, they're gonna have to, you know, fire this, let this person go, and let that person go. What's gonna happen next? They're gonna be asked to give statistics of the Black people in their companies, so it will force them to hire. Looking at radio stations and media. BBC had their reports come out. Capital Extra had their reports come out. Global Bauer, all them companies. Channel 4 have said this. What's his name? Alex Ohanian from Reddit has quit his seat at the table and asked for a Black person to be hired in his place, which was you know, done. But these implications mean that Black people will be hired. The change then comes is once they've hired their token Black people, are they now going to continue to listen to Black people and continue to continually hire people from Black backgrounds? That's where it is. But I do think that it's a good thing that these people left, right and center are being fired. And I think it's a good thing that these organizations, even if they are just spinning it PR sake, what we forget is there are people that follow these brands and organizations that don't think anything's wrong. So when they see that a brand like Misguided or like Ben & Jerry's, who've been actually doing things...
Ben & Jerry's have been doing absolute bits.
For at least 10 years,
Yeah.
But people follow these corporations, and when they see these corporations posting, they might then say, actually, wait, if L'Oreal thinks there might be a problem, let me see, there might be one. So that's why I think it's official.
Do you know what? I'm so glad that you brought up L'Oreal, because I don't know if I've heard of Monroe Bergdorf.
Yeah,
of course, my girl.
Who was the first trans woman, which I'm pretty sure is correct, to be hired by L'Oreal 3 years ago. And she then came out and said, very close to the time that she was hired, in a separate interview, she was talking about white supremacy and talking about how it's affecting things. L'Oreal, off the back of that, immediately fired her.
Sorry, Sophie, can I say, that's not what happened. It was actually, she had a Facebook post, and her Facebook post was saying how white people are inherently racist because all white people are inherently racist because we're taught this from the day that we're born. And someone who saw that she was going to be the new face in one of the campaigns, who was, I think, transphobic or just an asshole, who knows, then reported her, then showed that to them, and that's what happened.
Okay, thank you. So that happened, she got fired, and then she got thrown to the wolves of the media. They ripped her apart. 3 years later now, Black Lives Matter has happened, and L'Oreal posted a post saying, and I quote, we think you're worth it. Was it something about racism? Speak out because you're worth it.
That is it.
Speak out because you're worth it. Now, people were incensed because you're just like, hold on, Monroe spoke out 3 years ago. You didn't care about white supremacy then. And what I really respected about Monroe is that she waited a couple of days before she even said anything. Then after a couple of days, she came out and said, look, I've given L'Oreal 2-3 days to respond. They haven't. And she basically cussed them out. She was just like saying, you lot didn't care. You threw me to the wolves. No one cared about how it affected my coin, how it affected me mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like, nobody cared. And now you want to talk about this. Then a few days later, Monroe posts another post saying how she's been in talks with L'Oreal. L'Oreal had given $50,000 to 2 different causes that she's recommended, and she has now been hired on their UK Advisory and Inclusivity Board as a consultant. The matter is kind of done. Do you guys think that L'Oreal are actually trying to make change, or do you think that they gave the money and hired Monroe in order to put a silence to the conversation and the noise that she was making?
To be quite honest, I think both.
Both, yeah. Yes, that's what I was about to say.
Highlighted when she was talking about that was that the director is a different person. So we're working with the same company, but different people within it. And you don't hire an activist like Monroe if you're trying to keep things hush hush. Like, she does not mince her words. She speaks out on every issue. If there was ever to be an issue going forward within the company, you know that we're going to hear about it, because she's not gonna, you know what I mean, keep silent for keeping silent's sake. Like, she speaks her mind. So I think I actually think, like, just like how dashing Edward Colston's statue in the river was poetic justice, her being hired on my diversity board is as well, because she is such a broad thinker and she's such an intersectional thinker. She's one of, like, the most brilliant public intersectional feminists of our generation. You can't have someone like that working for your company and not see change within that company.
Yeah.
So by hiring her, things are going to change.
I'm agreeing with Luanda on that, because for me, if they had just donated the money to the causes, I think that's where it would have stopped. So by putting her on the board is how we're going to see that long-term progression. Because I've seen, I don't know how much time you guys spend on LinkedIn, but I've seen so many companies say, oh, I've donated to George Floyd's family, I've donated to here, I've donated to there. And that's like, okay, I'm glad you're putting your spending money in that and everything, but what are you doing long-term? Because it's such a short-term fix. And I think by putting Black people, as we spoke about earlier, in more positions of power and more positions where they can be able to drive different conversations, I think that's going to help even the answer people's questions. I think change.
Exactly, but I think there's 2 things to look at within there. The first is being how Black voices are valued. So I think her being on that board, you're saying to her, we value your voice, okay? And then the second thing is what you were just saying, Anissa, about long-term commitment, because allies and companies who want to be allies need to understand that it's not just a one-off thing. It's not like I posted a black square and I'm good. Like, it is a lifelong commitment to seeing actual systematic change. And if you want to see that, it's not here today and gone tomorrow. It is for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and that's kind of actually my point that I mentioned earlier, Linda, when I was talking about, like, some brands are being quite reactive, because you just, like, for example, I love them, but, you know, they got in a bit of a war, a Pretty Little Thing, their first post, and they had a picture of a white hand and a black fist joining hands saying, that post was very reactive to the situation. It was just wrong. It was just wrong. Of course, they've come back now and they've rectified the situations, and now we're seeing lots of Black influencers all of a sudden do a lot of collabs with them, and etc.
How did they rectify, Anissa?
They basically came back and said, we've had some time to think. They put out another statement. We've had some time. Okay. We realised they basically said they realised that they kind of misstepped, and now they're trying to look at long-term actions and what they can do. And so that was my kind of opinion about that. Bringing it back to my earlier opinion, I just felt like a lot of brands were being reactive in the moment of, here's my blackout square, here's a picture, a nice picture that says, we stand with you. And it was like, I don't want to see pictures anymore. Well, to be fair, it's the first time we're seeing it, but it's not enough for me. That's not even the bare minimum for me. I need to see a picture and a plan of action, and then I'll take that as the minimum, and then we can
I think for me, I definitely feel like this, especially when it comes to Instagram influencers. Like, the biggest Instagram influencers in general are white. And I think there are a lot of Instagram influencers who I believe jumped on the bandwagon and were posting black squares, or posting Desmond Tutu, Maya Angelou, Martin Luther King quotes that also fitted their grids, matched the colours in their thing. So I was kind of like, okay. And it really, for the most part, it really upset me, because most of them put it in their live, so it disappears in 24 hours. And some of the people who put up the black square deleted it the next day. And I was kind of like, okay. There was one white influencer who I'm not going to mention. I felt like she went that extra step, because she then posted like 101 different black businesses to follow, did a post on it, researched it.
You should mention her, man.
Give her props.
Her name is Victoria McGrath in the Fro, and she talked about blackness businesses from authors to restaurants to fashionistas, and she talked about how she's really going to make a change. And I really love that going the extra step further, which it felt like. But as all of you have said, I'm not giving anybody props until a year's time, when it's no longer cool. When you turn up to your brand events and you're like, why am I the only, why is everyone white? Guys, we need to bring in the diversity. Actually, I can't work with this campaign because I've seen that you don't actually support diversity. Those are the changes we're looking for brands to make, because like you're saying, posting is very cheap, it's very easy, and it's not going to make lasting change.
My only thing is this though, with Monroe's situation, the position they hired her for was diversity and inclusion. And what I'm finding is that a lot of these corporations are hiring Black people for specifically diversity and inclusion roles. True. Why can't we be hired for roles that are powerful, but aren't all about, diversity and inclusion? It's just like, it's almost frustrating. It's like, once again, it's our job to make this company diverse or to make sure you're included. Can you not make sure you're including us yourself? It's just like, I get it. They want to hear our voices and they want to have, and I suppose